Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Mr. Travelux. I'm Addison. Today I'm going to be discussing my top travel insights after having traveled to 82 countries. Let's begin. Nearly a decade ago, I set myself a goal. I wanted to travel to as many countries as possible in 10 years. Now, almost 10 years later, that's been 82 countries. Now, I often get asked, after having traveled to all these countries, what are my top travel insights? That is what this video is all about. Number 1, spontaneity. When traveling across the world and exploring new destinations, it's amazing to plan. It's amazing to have a bit of research ahead of time and know exactly what you're getting into. However, sometimes the best experiences can be discovered through spontaneity. Just being spontaneous, simply going out, having an exploration in an area that you might have not thought about, talking to someone local, and just trying something different. Number 2, be a local. No, I don't mean going and taking out a passport in the country you're visiting. Rather, what I mean is having the opportunity to go and experience that new destination through the eyes of someone local. So there's a whole lot of ways to do this. For example, the first one, and my favorite, is food. Going and exploring not just the touristy restaurants in a destination, but the places a little bit off the beaten path. Maybe if you're staying in a hotel or resort, a great way to do that is to actually go and get to know the concierge at the front desk. They will have some amazing local insights for you as far as what you can actually do that's off the beaten path just a little bit. Another great way to do this is by actually going out and literally meeting someone local. Maybe it's a coffee shop locally, maybe it's a local event or some fun fair or something of that nature. There are numerous opportunities to rub elbows with someone local when you go to a destination. And it's always a great opportunity to ask them, what are your favorite things to do around here? What's something that I should absolutely see before I leave this destination? If you take a moment and step off this beaten path and actually get to know the destination a little bit deeper, it really will leave a lasting memory for you. Number 3. Number 3 is one of my favorites. Leave that comfort zone. Yes, it's easy to be complacent when we're traveling and to go and just have all the amenities we want in a single destination and not even leave the place we're in. However, sometimes leaving that comfort zone can really give you a unique and new experience. Now, that could range in a variety of ways. Maybe for a destination, that's simply going to a place that you would have never considered. Maybe it's a place you wouldn't have considered because it's a language you don't speak or a culture you don't know very well. But sometimes stepping outside of that comfort zone can be really beneficial. Or maybe you're going to some place that you've often been, someplace you know quite well. There are so many ways to leave your comfort zone there, as far as stepping outside of that boundary, exploring it differently, staying in a different type of place, and just having an overall different experience. And number 4, do your research. Yes, I know that number 1 was be spontaneous, but number 4 is just as important. If you're going to a new destination that you don't know much about, I have found through my experience that it's very advantageous to get to know the destination a bit before you go. Else, you might spend some of your valuable time on your actual trip taking the time to learn what to do. And by the time the end of the trip is here, you're just starting your actual experiences. So having a great idea of the things around, the different places to eat, the different things to explore, and going on some community forums can be a great opportunity for you to go and have that first step towards having an amazing experience. Number 5, is find a travel expert. Now, there's a lot of ways to do this. For example, I actually own Reliant Destinations, which is a travel concierge service, essentially a travel agency with a higher level of customer service here in the United Kingdom. So every day I get the opportunity to help people find their inspiration, find their journey, and help them have a very smooth experience through the whole process. However, maybe it's not just a travel agent or a travel consultant who you build a relationship with. There's a lot of different ways to find an expert. Well, one of those ways can go back to the previous point of being a local, finding a local, and actually talking to someone who knows the destination for that first-hand authentic experience. Others are, you might be surprised when you start talking to people around you who actually knows the destination. People who've been there before can give you that really great insight as to, yes, here's the things to do. And also sometimes what's more important, here's the things you don't want to do. Of course, searching on the internet is also a great way to find people's opinions and perspectives on different destinations. Do keep in mind though that everything is always subject to just that, perspectives. It's people's different ideas. Everything that comes from someone is going to be an idea, so you have to take it in context. For example, TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor can be both a great thing and a bad thing. One of the reasons it can be bad is because there are a lot of great destinations that people will choose to not visit simply because there's 1 or 2 negative reviews on there. In fact, I recently had a client that was telling me that they had went a few years back to New York, and in New York, they had stayed in an amazing place, they loved their experience, and then when they came back, they had a look on TripAdvisor and they realized that yes, almost all the reviews were terrible, but they were terrible all based off perspective. And they actually, having read those reviews, if they had read those before they went, they wouldn't have ever really experienced this amazing place. So it's always just important to make sure to take things with a little bit of a grain of salt. Number 6, luxury is subjective. So I've stayed in absolutely everywhere, from hostels and backpacking to some of the nicest 5-star resorts in the world. And don't get me wrong, I love both experiences. Personally, I'm a bit of a sucker for luxury at this point in my life, and yes, my travel concierge service definitely is focused on, I guess you could say, that luxury niche. However, in luxury, you have a wide spectrum, from affordable luxury all the way to exclusive high-end luxury. That's your private yachts, private islands, and that sort of thing. But luxury really comes with context. Luxury to me might be very different to what luxury is to you. For example, maybe there's something that's very important to you when you go to a destination. Maybe having the most beautiful beach is what you're looking for. For me though, a beach isn't so important because I'm not someone who likes to just lie on a beach all the time. I enjoy having a nice beach there, but for me I would prioritize nicer food. So obviously there are many places that do tick all the boxes on this sort of thing, but it's just important to keep in mind when talking about luxury, having a good think, what is luxury to you? And then in terms of that, with luxury, there's of course value for money, and that goes again on a spectrum because everyone falls a bit in a different place in regards to how much they want to spend for the experience they want to have. But at the end of the day, you do have to be a bit realistic as to, if you have high expectations, you want to make sure that you're not sacrificing quality for those. And the next point is one of my favorites, disconnect. What do you mean by disconnect? Well, there's a lot of ways to disconnect. Of course, we do live in an era that is full of technology. In fact, with this video right now and with YouTube, of course, we're maximizing the use of technology. However, going and exploring different destinations, whether it is that adventurous experience going off the beaten path, or whether it is staying in a very nice resort, both of those experiences, you can gain a lot more if you disconnect. This is something for me that I've learned the hard way over time. For example, most of us carry our phones around. These days, particularly something like an iPhone, it's so small and it fits into our pocket, it's easy to have. But if you have to think about the last time you traveled, how many times when you go to an amazing destination is everyone standing there with their phone and simply just taking lots of photos and viewing it through the lens? In fact, I've done a lot of study on this over my travels, and I love to people watch and sitting and watching people, and some people will go and they will see a whole site simply with the lens of their phone and never actually experience it in person, which can be absolutely amazing, looking at how you can have that similar experience by just going online for free. So what I always suggest is when someone goes to a beautiful new destination, have that phone with you, absolutely, capture those memories, but take it out, remember just to capture the moment and put it away, and then step back and soak in where you're at. That's my recommendation with disconnect. And my final insight for today is price isn't everything. That's a funny one. Well, price does have a determinating factor for a lot of people, looking at the fact that, well, we only have so much money to spend on a certain experience. However, sometimes I believe it is worth to delay going on the experience so you can invest a little bit more money into the actual quality of the experience. Often, as you can imagine, as someone who owns a travel agency, one of the most frequent questions we get is, what is the cheapest way to do this? Well, there's a difference always between cheapest and quality. Now, with quality, that quality doesn't necessarily have to be atrociously expensive, but for quality, you do have to invest a little bit of money. What happens often, for people who take the cheapest packages they see online, sometimes the gimmick entry-level packages that you see on different online websites and that sort of thing, when they go and actually have these experiences, they realize once they're there that there are many different hidden costs, that there are many upgrades you need to have to actually have a satisfactory experience. So it's always worth having a conversation not only with yourself, but also with the person or the place that you're looking to book your travel through, and really thinking about what will it actually cost me once I'm there as well, to know that it's okay to invest a little bit more if more is going to be included, particularly with all-inclusive. All-inclusive is a very popular concept right now, and all-inclusive packages, though, aren't always all-inclusive. For example, there are many different destinations in the world that when you go on an all-inclusive package, once you're there, you still have to pay for local tourist tax. Maybe there's a restaurant that you get access to one time a week outside the buffet, and if you want additional access, you have to pay for that. A lot of activities nearby, perhaps you have to pay either a surcharge or you have to go and hire the different activities yourself, and that list goes on and on. However, with all-inclusive, there are just as many places as well that include all of those different things, maybe in the Caribbean, even water sports and that sort of thing, in the package already. Now, those tend to be a bit higher price, for example, but the quality is going to be an overall better experience, and at the end of the day, when you return, chances are you've actually spent less money. And so those are my top travel insights after having traveled to 82 countries. Now, I know those are very abstract insights, and that's because I have some very exclusive and very exciting content coming for you guys here in the next few weeks. We're going to be covering different destinations in great detail, different comparisons and reviews across resorts, and so much more. Make sure to subscribe. We'll see you next time.